affected by the rising cost of everything, and also charities trying to do good work in our area. So Rob Rose is at Headway this morning, charity in Nottingham, doing really important work, find themselves in a very tricky financial situation, as Rob's going to find out. Hi, Rob.
Morning. Yeah, it's very calm in here at the moment, but Thursday is actually one of the busiest days for this charity because they have lots of people using their services, all with various different abilities. And they come here for some rehabilitation, they come here to socialise, and of course their carers and friends also come to meet other people who are going through similar things to them. And this is a building with lots of character, and it's also a charity that's 28 years old and supports people with brain injuries. And there's no time limit on the support they give, but what there is a limit on is finances because of this pesky cost of living crisis. In front of me is Rihanna Lakin. She's the assistant manager here, and the reality is if March comes by and you don't plug this gap, what happens?
I'm afraid ultimately, after 28 years service for our community and being the only organisation doing what we do for people who've been affected by brain injury, if we don't reach our fundraising target to plug that deficit, unfortunately, we are in a position where we're going to have to close the doors permanently, which is just absolutely a devastating prospect for all of us, particularly for the people who rely on us day in, day out.
So to help mitigate this, you've launched a big campaign. What are you doing?
Yeah, so we're having a fundraising push, and I have to say, of the 26,000 that we have to raise, we've, as of yesterday, including gift aid, we've tipped over the £10,000 mark, which is absolutely phenomenal, and particularly at a time when we appreciate everyone's tightening their belts. We're so grateful that people have made donations to us, but we've still got a way to go. We've still got another 16,000 to raise to be sure that we can keep our doors open.
And you were telling me, at the end of March, if you don't do that, you will have to close. And you've already gone through lots of cost-saving measures yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got to a point where there's nothing left to cut, essentially. We have absolutely minimal rent. There really is nothing left for us to cut without directly impacting the rehabilitation that we're able to offer for people, which is, and that's why we're so unique. There is no other service providing brain injury rehabilitation specifically without time limit. It's so important what we do.
And we'll talk all through the morning about what services you do. We'll look around the building. But just in a nutshell, why is Headway Nottingham so valuable to people with brain injuries?
I think brain injury is very distinct from other types of disability. So of the 68 people that we're supporting at the moment, some of those people have had brain injuries physically, so perhaps they've been assaulted or perhaps they've been involved in car accidents. The other people have had strokes or perhaps brain tumours or hemorrhages, and the way that people's abilities are affected, brain injury is so, it really pervades into every little bit of somebody's life. It affects someone's ability to go out to work and support themselves, takes away their ability to operate safely in the home, complete simple tasks for themselves. And of course that then impacts on confidence, and it can make people feel incredibly isolated and have that horrible sense of newly being dependent on other people. So everything here is based around rebuilding the skills, helping people feel good about themselves, and giving people hope for a positive future as safely and as independently as possible. And ultimately, there's no other organisation doing that, and that's what would be lost.
No other organisation doing that. That's a very powerful sentence there. So Headway Nottingham, been going for 28 years. They've still got a couple of people who came all those years ago and still receiving care and support. There's no time limit on what they offer here. And here we are. They're at a situation where the cost of living crisis is squeezing pockets and could cause them to close. We'll talk about it throughout the morning, Sarah.
Thanks, Rob. On it in the national papers. 12 minutes to 8. It's BBC Radio Nottingham. Spending a bit of time with a local charity this morning in Nottingham who say they've got to raise £26,000 before March. Otherwise, they're going to go under. And our reporter Rob Rose is there. Where are you, Rob?
Sorry, I was just playing with a chess piece. It's got lots of games in there, actually, and dominoes and various dice bits. I'm in one of the breakout rooms where people come. They come to relax, they come to play games, they come to socialise. At Headway Nottingham, based in Old Basford, it's in this very beautiful, characteristic building. You probably hear my voice echoing around the giant spaces. The ceilings are a lot higher. The skirting boards come up almost halfway up the wall. And on a wall at the side of me is a very powerful piece of artwork. These are people who have brain injuries, and they come here to get a bit of respite. They come here to meet other people like them. They come here to receive care, and they also come to do activities, including making artwork. And what they've done is traced around their feet. So there's pieces of fabric, all in different sizes, shoe sizes, some of them children as well. And they've written their names on there and what they do. So, for example, Craig, he was a miner. He was 16 and he received a traumatic brain injury. Andrew, at the side of him, was 37 and he had an aneurysm. And you move along and there's Jeanette, who was a housing manager. She was 41 and had a stroke. And you take a step back and you look at this wall and you look at these people's shoe sizes. And these are people who are just going about their normal lives as we do every day. And it's a very humbling mural to look at, because these are people who just in the space of a couple of seconds, their lives changed, but they're here receiving that care. And this is what makes this charity so important, isn't it, Charlotte? People come here just for a little relief, a little bit of excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being able...
Oh, I think we've lost the signal. We'll catch up with them in a little while at Headway. They're in need of money like everybody else at the moment. But when you're a charity and you're short of money, it's 26 grand they're going to need before March. I think we've got them back. Rob?
Sorry about that. That's my mobile phone not liking me move around. I'll pop it on the table. Charlotte Leith, you were just telling us about the importance of the place and people come here to do what?
They come here primarily to be with each other and to be in a community that completely understands their difficulties, accepts them for who they are now, warts and all, and can really support each other to adjust to life with disability after brain injury and to start moving forward, looking forward and planning for a more positive future.
You said something to me earlier that was quite powerful, because I said that the risk of you closing at the end of March if you don't plug this funding gap means that not only your clients here will have nowhere to go, but you'll lose your job, but you're more focused on the people that come here.
Well, yeah, obviously there's a personal kind of worry about what happens when the place closes, but we can go and get another job. Hopefully it will be that easy. But the people that use the service can't find this community anywhere else. It doesn't exist. If we aren't here, they don't have that community that offers them so much support.
When did you realise that you'd got this funding gap, and what have you done since to help?
Well, we've been seeing the trend over the last year or two of our fundraising income declining. And so we have taken steps. We've moved to a new building on a peppercorn rent, which includes all of our utilities and energy bills. So we're actually paying less for the service than we ever have done before. But as last year came to a close and as this year began, we realised that our modest reserve funds were being eaten up and we just didn't have enough to kind of move into a new financial year and keep plugging the gap.
And let's talk about the importance of this place. It's difficult for clients to get here at this time of the morning because it's a lot to ask for them. But let's talk about Stephen. So Stephen's 47. He's been coming quite a while. And what changes have you seen in Stephen?
Oh, Stephen's an amazing chap and we really love supporting him. He has been using the service for over 10 years. He had a traumatic brain injury after falling from a cherry picker at work. And when he first attended, he didn't necessarily understand all the effects of his brain injury and how they were kind of impacting his everyday life. So through spending time with us, he's kind of gained insight into the difficulties he now has. He's learnt strategies to cope with some of the problems he faces now. And he's found a community where he can be himself and not worry about whether he upsets people with behaviours that might not necessarily seem normal to those that don't understand about brain injury.
And very quickly, what can people do if they can spare perhaps £1, or how can they support your cause?
Any amount is welcome at the moment, and they can Google Headway Nottingham. You'll see our website. Go on there and donate whatever you can, and we will be eternally grateful.
That's Charlotte Leask, the services managers at Headway Nottingham here in Old Basford, where we're learning more about why this charity is so important. And they've announced this month that if they don't plug that gap by the end of March, then they will have to sadly close the doors. But they're doing everything in their power.
Families, and I think we all know about how difficult budgets are at the moment, but charities are struggling as well. They've got the same overheads, greater in some cases than the rest of us. So Rob Rose is talking to one charity struggling with a very difficult financial predicament at the moment. Is at Headway in Nottingham. Morning, Rob.
Yeah, they are, Sarah. They're a charity who've been around for 28 years and they help people with brain injuries. But what makes them really unique here in Old Basford at Bradbury House is they don't have a time limit on how long you can access their services for. If you want to come here every week, you can do. There's no fixed time limit on how long you can access support. And I'm just walking into the activity room now. It's a very characteristic old-fashioned house, but inside there's an activity laid out with various numbers of different colours and sizes on the floor and some soft bowling balls that you have to chuck and get them in various different score points, and that is just to help people with hand-eye coordination, balance and strength, and it's part of many activities that you do here, Rihanna Lakin, isn't it?
That's right, it certainly is. It's a fantastic activity, actually. It's brilliant for balance and coordination, but it's interestingly, it's brilliant for scoring as well, and maths, rebuilding those math skills.
And we'll talk about the reason we're here, but first, you told me a very humbling stat earlier that just go on, repeat it. What did you say?
Yeah, so unfortunately, all over the UK and indeed in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire, every 90 seconds someone's admitted to hospital with a brain injury. And for the vast majority of those people, they had absolutely no idea that their brain injury was going to happen. You know, unfortunately, it's simply the case that you don't know that one day you may need us.
And you see that, don't you, with the fabric footprints on the wall with people's names embroidered on there and the job that they used to do and what happened. And you're at a point now where if you don't find £26,000 before March, what happens to Headway?
Well, unfortunately, I think as a result of the cost of living crisis and diminishing donations that are coming into the organisation, which we understand, you know, people are tightening their belts, it is the case that unless we raise £26,000 by the end of March, we're going to have to close our doors permanently.
What does that mean?
That is, for a kick-off, that's 68 people who rely on us every single week for not only rebuilding their skills and for understanding and for making life easier for themselves, but also rely on our community. You know, when they're here, they have the opportunity to spend time with people who understand their brain injury. It doesn't matter if someone has a terrible memory or if they have obvious physical disability or if they have trouble understanding information. None of that matters here. People can be themselves and they can feel much better about the future.
And Charlotte Leask, you're not going down without a fight, are you? You're doing everything you can to mitigate this. You've already done things behind the scenes like cut costs in rent and with energy, and literally can't do much more, can you?
No, we are we've cut costs to the point where we are essentially operating on a skeleton service. We've done everything we can to cut everything we can without affecting the service we're delivering to our clients. So now it's all about asking people for support just to bridge a gap over the next few months before those things that we're doing really bear fruit and make a difference to our financial situation.
Where do people need to go to follow your progress, maybe pledge a bit of support and just find out more about Headway Nottingham? Some people might not know that you exist.
They can visit our website. That's the best place to be, and that's headwaynottingham.org.uk, or you can just Google Headway Nottingham and we'll appear there at the top of the search bar.
Well, thank you both. It's been a very powerful morning here at Bradbury House in Old Basford, where Headway Nottingham are based, and I can't leave the morning without just having a go with one of these spongy bowling balls and trying to get it into the 100. Do you reckon I can do it, ladies?
Absolutely.
That's very encouraging, but I think you might be wrong. Here it goes. No, straight off the edge.
Oh,
and
you could have told us
into the
anything.
gutter.
Oh, you could have lied there.
I should have made it up, you're right, yeah.
At Headway today, they could do with some support. It's 25 minutes past 8 o'clock on Thursday, the 1st of February. Beautiful morning, isn't it?